fee, which is about $250 a month. For the next 6 months is $1,500. Altogether, there's $40,932.67 in comparison to last year, where there was $302,000. And actually, we went back in previous years. This is the least amount that it has ever been. Correct, Paula?
Yes.
On the water side, and let me go back to the revenue collection. In the general fund, right now, when we're at 50%, we have collected 61.19% of our projected revenues. And with 77.69% of this year's ad valorem taxes has already been collected. And we've expended only 46.85% of the proposed budget. So actually, we're below our expenditure projections for the year in the general fund right now, and way above on the revenue side. So if we continue with that course, we're probably going to take care of some of that $128,000 deficit.
That's due to staff we don't have.
Pretty well. Yeah, but it is where we are.
I mean, it is a savings, but it's a savings you may not want to have.
As far as on the water fund, we've collected 46.51% projected revenues. With the way the water fund comes in the different districts, we don't actually probably have a full 6 months here, so that's why it's at 46.51. It's more like a little over 50, but as of the end of March, that is where we stood at 46.51% collection. And we've expended 46.85, so we're running pretty well neck and neck on that. The things that we have looked at that need to be expanded, or amended, I should say, fuel and lubricants, we've already expended 78% in the water distribution. So to accommodate for the second half of the year, that would have to be amended. The vehicle repairs is over $102, and we'll have to expand at least $500 to get through the remainder of the year. Chemicals and water distribution are over $705. That's a lot to do with the dechlorination tablets that we have to use when flushing fire hydrants now, because of all of the requirements on MS4s. Can't put chlorine into the creek, so we have to dechlorinate it. So we had to stock up on that. That's a lot of the reason that is over $705.23. Fire hydrant parts, we have been going through a phasing to change our hose filters to meet the ones, they're called stork fittings, to meet what we have on the fire trucks. And we just spent, on our second phase, I believe, we just spent $5,600 on ordering those storks. We're not doing them all in 1 year, we're trying to phase it out. Meter costs have increased, costing us to recommend increasing the budget for meters. Everything's increased, so that was an additional $2,000. We're all right now, but we're going to need at least $2,000 to get through the year, or we'll be in the red. The water line maintenance is over budget and needs to be amended, and that's largely due to the main breaks within the city. We've had a lot of main breaks this last year. The overtime budget in the water administration is over. That's a lot to do with being short-staffed. It's a lot to do with having people that have been off sick. And so we had to increase that line item $1,900. And training and travel in water administration is over $812 due to the municipal clerk training. All we did was put what's remaining in her training for this year of $125 and the deficit that we have right now, so we just balanced that out. We didn't have to do anything with EDC, crime, or stormwater. We just did stormwater, if you remember, here a while back. So the bottom line is, we're asking for $40,932.67 in amendments to the general fund, And in the water and sewer, we're asking for $26,100 to cover the amendments that need to be.
I have a quick question, because I was unaware, although it didn't, not that it needed to come to council. So for municipal clerk training for public works secretary, so that's Cassie? So she's going to city secretary, municipal clerk training? Okay.
I gave you the balances on each, if you look on the ordinance on 1375-2023, I showed you the budget balance now, and the amount expanded, and gave you the reason for it. I just went through each one individually, for everybody.
These water main break, Marvin, are this on old lines or are these on new lines?
All lines. I don't think we've had any problems with the new lines. Churchill was 4, and that was new line, but that wasn't us.
Robert's cutoff.
Robert's cut off
Yeah, you get something, they have a leak there sometime.
on a new line?
Yeah.
We did? Okay.
We had a couple that, the parts that separated,
Yeah.
that needed some emergency repair.
And we've got the company out here to do that?
Correct.
Yeah, that wasn't the cost of it.
No, I know that, but I mean, it's just, when you're saying we ain't had none, I knew we had.
Okay.
So, Marvin, I have a question. First of all, that's commendable, 42,000. That's not a lot. And that's very common to have to shift things through budget. So, good job on finding ways to do that. But how are departmental budgets created in the first place? Is it zero-based? Do they start out with a zero-based?
We try to do a zero-based budget, yeah, that's one of the deals that we're encountering. Because if something happens during the year, you kill that being zero-based. But we do try to do a zero-base as much as possible.
But when you, even if you have a zero-based, I mean, are there not allotments within each budget that account for it? If the truck breaks down, then they're going to pull out of this item of the budget.
That's the hope, that we won't spend as much in one and be able to take out of the other, but it doesn't always happen that way.
But I think maybe what you're asking a little bit is, do they have built-in
Safety
contingencies?
systems,
And I'd say probably not.
No, we don't.
Because when you're trying to tweak it so tight, you sort of give that up, and then you end up doing this, because where you're missing it.
But is it not better to have it like?
Well, it's always, it'd be better if you're running surpluses to do that,
But we're not running, okay, got it.
But we're not. So then you
Okay.
end up, like, there used to be these depreciation accounts, and they're funny money, and like, we're gonna set aside money, but when you're setting aside negative dollars, then it doesn't really make sense at that point. Yeah.
So remind me where this 128,000 deficit is coming from?
That's, we got the money to cover it in the reserve, but we're not wanting to do that, of course. But that's your operational budget, was a negative 128,000.
Okay.
Like was pointed out earlier, yes, with all of the salaries are not being filled this year. For instance, in Public Works, we just have the one position now instead of the 2 supervisor positions. That money helps to make
Right.
that happen to where we may not end up in the red. But then you go into the next year, you're going to have to deal with it,
Right. So essentially, we got kind of lucky this year?
essentially.
Luck is the residue of design.
Hey! Yeah.
Marvin, are there any other budget adjustments that you perceive between now and the end of this budget? I know we just talked about backhoes.
Other than the backhoe, yes, would have to come back to transfer out of the reserve to that.
I know, but is there anything besides those that you anticipate between now and the end of this budget?
I don't anticipate it, but, you never know in this business.
But when if you take it out of that reserve, then that get us back under the 90 days?
Yeah, we're actually getting better with that, but yeah, it would. The water reserves is up better than it's been in a long time. unless you're gonna tell me something I don't.
No, I could say anything different.